Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bassam Haddad. I am the former or founding director of the Middle East and Islamic Studies program at George Mason University. And with me is Amaney Jamal, my partner in crime and Dean of the School of Public Policy,
School of Public and International Affairs.
Public and International Affairs at I'm in a School of Public Policy. I'm sorry. She's the dean of the School of Public and International Affairs at Princeton University, and she is also running Arab Barometer, and I'm in my capacity as also the director of the Arab Studies Institute. And these two organizations, along with our affiliated universities, have embarked on producing this project called 10 years on, mass protests and uprisings in the Arab world, which henceforth will no longer be called 10 years on. We've been working on it for 2 to 3 years. So henceforth it will be called the Arab Uprisings Project, which can be found at the arabuprisings.org with all of the resources, the events, and the developments that took place over the past 3 years. First of all, let me welcome again Amaney. How are you, Amaney?
Doing very well, Sam. It's always a great pleasure to be working with you on this and other things. So it's nice to be with you today.
Actually, people are going to start, becoming suspects as we've been doing a lot of work together. But I actually feel the same way. We've had a great run on a couple of projects, and I hope we continue to work together. This has also been a project that is co-sponsored by 16 other units and universities and research centers all over the world. We will share who they are. I'll ask Amaney to share who they are because I'll be doing a lot of talking and I don't want to hog the microphone. But first, let me just say a couple words about the project. As everyone knows, December 17th, 2010 marked the 10th anniversary of the start of the Arab uprisings in Tunisia. Today, it's actually beyond 12 years. Beginning in 2011, mass uprisings swept North Africa and the Middle East, spreading from the shores of Tunisia to Egypt, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Bahrain, and the eastern province of the Arabian Peninsula. A second wave of mass protests and uprising manifested during 2019, and we put second wave in quotation marks because people have issues with calling or naming such processes and events. In all cases, these took place in Sudan, Algeria, Lebanon, and Iraq. The persistence of demands for popular sovereignty until today, even in the face of re-entrenched authoritarianism, imperial intervention, and civil strife, is a critical chapter in regional and global history. In an effort to mark, interrogate, and reflect on the uprisings, on the Arab uprisings, we launched a year-long or 2-year-long at this point set of events, reflections, and conversations. We have also compiled and categorized in a dedicated portal a variety of resources for educators, researchers, students, journalists alike to understand the decade plus of political upheaval historically and in the lived present. As we all know, since 2010/11, a plethora of events, texts, and artistic and cultural productions have navigated the spectrum of affective and material registers. This project contributes to these efforts through a historically grounded, theoretically rigorous approach that collaboratively interrogates the multiple questions the Arab uprisings continue to pose to all of us. And we speak of the uprisings in the present tense also because they are continuing. Before we move forward and feature some of the outcomes, the products, the deliverables, the events, the resources, the podcasts, and so on, I'd like to ask Amaney to share with everyone the list of the really sizable list of co-sponsors. And Amaney, if you get tired, I can take over. You can just tell me. It's a long list.
Thank you so much. No, I'm really honored to be sort of mentioning and recognizing our co-sponsors. This by no means was based on the individual efforts of Bassam or I or ASI and Arab Barometer, there was a whole team of our colleagues working with us, chiming in. We had an executive committee that was comprised of almost all of our co-sponsors, and they had all these valuable insights and opinions. Really helped us organize the year-long series of events, and in fact, a lot of people sort of led many of those events. So by all means, we are very grateful and indebted to everyone who was involved in this project. And I want to list the key co-sponsors. First of all, Georgetown University, the Center for Contemporary Arab Studies, the American University of Beirut, especially the Asfari Institute, the Arab Council for the Social Sciences, Brown University, the Center for Middle East Studies, UC Santa Barbara, the Center for Middle East Studies, Harvard University, the Center for Middle East Studies, University of Exeter, the Institute of Arab and Islamic Studies, Bir Zayed University, the Department of Political Science, University of Chicago, the Chicago Center for Contemporary Theory, Stanford University, the Program on Arab Reform and Democracy, AUC affiliates, Georgetown University, Qatar, the Center for International and Regional Studies, and the Global Academy, which is Mesa affiliate, and the Institute of Palestine Studies. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Many of them met with us several times for their sponsorship, their support, and all their good words of advice. It's nice to be sitting here with Bassam, sort of showcasing what was accomplished over the last year with the initiative. But the truth is, we see this as sort of like a field-wide, almost discipline-wide project that really included many voices and opinions. And that's why we're very proud of the product that Bassam is going to unveil next. Back to you, Bassam.
Absolutely. Let me say that or double down on what Amani shared. Without the support of all of these partners, I don't think this project would have actually amounted to what it is today, which is a really remarkable archive of so much knowledge production on the Arab uprisings. It also is something that was extremely useful. What is happening with my... I'm being tied with my own microphone wires. It was also extremely productive to have folks, universities, research centers from different geographical areas that were able to address what we were seeking out to do in ways that were local through and through. So in so much of our production, and I could say this also about the Arab Barometer, but also Jadaliya and the Arab Studies Institute, we produce based on our networks and colleagues that actually live in the region. So in so many ways, our knowledge production, as well as cultural production, is viewed as a local production. It is not, I mean, we are here, we inhabit the United States, and we're producing from here as well, but so many of our partners are actually producing from the region. So we're not basically an outside-in operation. Both of us, and I'll ask Amaney to say a little bit more about the Arab Barometer, and I'll say something about the Arab Studies Institute, but we're also emanating our work, so much of our work is emanating from locales in the region. And that has made this project different. It also has meant that a lot of the production has also been, or not, I shouldn't say a lot, but quite a bit has been also in the Arabic language, addressing people in their own language in the region. And it has also meant that we covered a multiple set of disciplines, as well as fields and approaches, methodologies, given the eclectic nature of all these institutions that partook in the production of the Arab Uprisings project. We are meeting today simply to share that it's continuing, even though the formal aspect of the project and the collaboration is concluding. The actual act and project of gathering and making available for analysis a host of articles, books, podcasts, lectures, panels, films, is ongoing. This project is now living on the resource portal at the arabuprisings.org under resource portal temporarily, as it will have its own audio visual portal that will actually be far more interactive, which we are working on as we speak. But you can still at this point go to the arabuprisings.org. That's the arabuprisings.org, and click on resource portal to find the material there. I will also go through it in just a little bit, but before we get there, and now that we have addressed and acknowledged our partners, I'd like to ask Amaney to say a little bit about the Arab Barometer, which is the principal partner of the Arab Studies Institute, as well as Amaney's university, Princeton, and where I am lodged at George Mason University. So, Amaney, share with us what the Arab Barometer does and how this might fit in your project.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, Bassam, for that. So, just really quickly, on our end at the Princeton University and the Arab Barometer, the workshop on Arab political development, were the key supporters behind this initiative. The workshop on Arab political development is a small sort of research hub for us at Princeton University to study the contemporary politics of the Middle East, and we often will bring in guest speakers and workshop our student works and whatnot, so that this is that sort of engine that's behind supporting this project. We're really proud to be doing that. And then the other hat is the Arab Barometer. Most of you probably know or have encountered the Arab Barometer data. It is probably the most long-standing, comprehensive data source on public opinions and mass opinions of citizens in the Middle East and North Africa. This year, we are now preparing for the 8th wave of the Arab Barometer. We've been working in the Middle East and North Africa since 2006, so we're sort of approaching almost that 20-year anniversary. We have surveyed thousands of citizens across numerous countries, across different waves. Please visit www.arabbarometer.org to see our website. Not only is the data publicly available, we do provide a small portal for analytical purposes. If you want to run any data, especially like crosstabs or bivariate analysis, we also have a full website in Arabic. All of our research is displayed in Arabic and English. We do conduct research on thematic points. Also, we sort of conduct case studies, what we call country reports, to sort of monitor trends across the region, across numerous countries. So please do visit the arabbarometer.org. We are eager to remain sort of an influential entity, not only in academic circles, but in policy debates and in civil society circles as well. So thank you so much for that. Back to you, Bassam. I think, Bassam, we lost your audio.
There you go. The mute button. Oh my God, this never ends. The mute button challenge. Okay, so the Arab Studies Institute is the other partner in crime, and that in this project, and it is an umbrella organization for 5 institutions that sort of operate almost semi-autonomously, including the Arab Studies Journal, the peer-reviewed research journal, which had its start in 1992, which also marks the beginning of the Arab Studies Institute. This is our 30th year, or 31st year, actually. It also includes the audiovisual collective, Quilting Point, which started in the early 2000s as a way of reaching a broader audience. Then FAMA, Forum on Arab and Muslim Affairs, which is our research arm that includes in and of itself over 18 projects on various topics and countries. And then in 2010, Jadaliya had its launch a few months before the uprisings and became sort of our front center organization. Everybody actually thinks ASI is Jadaliya and vice versa. And then we launched in 2012 Tadween Publishing, which is a publishing house that sort of rethinks what is quote unquote academic knowledge production and what is meaningful to publish over and above some of the criteria that are found in the publishing world. And so that is the Arab Studies Institute. And so much of our work in the past few years has also become audiovisual as a result of the move or slow shift from text to visuals, but also as a result of COVID, which changed so much of what we do. For instance, this event right now, absent COVID, would have probably been in person, right? Amani, potentially. I mean, COVID created that space where, hey, we could save, carbon footprint. We could save, basically funds and energy and risk, and just do this online. And COVID taught us that this is okay. At least taught those of us who were not convinced that these events can be equally meaningful. So I'll stop there, and I'll try to move to share with everyone some of the material that we are trying to showcase. Let me start with. Yeah, go ahead.
That point that we highlight that we were able to convene multiple events almost on a monthly basis, maybe sometimes two to three events a month, and always draw in this great expertise because it was online and using the technologies that came out of the pandemic.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that we have been able to do is basically make logistics neutral. And the sorts of events that included or involved people from the region were many. At the same time that people outside the region, Europe and the United States and beyond, actually were partaking. And I think we've done more. We've actually embarked on more than 24 panels and lectures. And these are the big ones. There are smaller ones that were like podcasts that took place as well. And that's largely because of our ability to do things online. However, several of our major panels and events were actually in person, and they were still broadcast online. So that is definitely that has definitely been a plus. And it wasn't between 2011 and 2020. That was not the experience, actually. The experience was that if you're doing something quote unquote worthwhile, it's going to be in person. And just like the difference earlier on between a journal in print, a peer-reviewed journal in print and peer-reviewed journal online, which now I'm hoping that the boundaries are a lot more blurry. But earlier on, there was sort of a difference in terms of how seriously one would take such a production. These days, it's not the case, at least in most instances. So thanks, Amani, for highlighting this. Let me share that. The principal reason we are meeting today is to just showcase the portal where you could find all of this material. A lot of this work is going to be on you to actually search and peruse and browse the material. And as I share some of this material with you, Amani and I will address the content to the extent that we can in a time span of we agreed to half an hour, 40 minutes, so that this doesn't become the main event. This is a gateway to the main event. Before I do this, Amani, do you have anything to share, or is there any thing you'd like to introduce before I move into the visuals?
No, I do want to say that where credit is deserved is ASI really played the key role in assembling this really honestly phenomenal website. When Seb and I sat down to take a look at it, I was in awe. It was just overwhelmingly amazing to have all these materials. And this is not only a portal that captures everything that had happened in terms of our initiative over the year that we worked together, but like Bassam has taken upon himself and for the team to put, capture almost anything that's been written on the Arab Spring, any journal article that's been written on Arab Spring, any cultural event, artistic event, a syllabi, resources. I mean, this is going to be the go-to website for anything that has to do with the Arab Spring. And it captures both Arabic materials and English materials. So for that, Bassam has produced a tremendous public good for our community and for our field that will be years to come.
Thanks, Amani. But you know, yeah, the $20 is on its way on Venmo. No, no, thank you, Amani. But you guys, no, I appreciate it, but you guys also had a big hand in marshaling so much of this, as well as the 16 partners. And honestly, some partners were extremely active in helping us put things together, or even contributed some funds as well, including Lisa Woodine and her Center on Political Theory at the University of Chicago. But for the most part, even at ASI, this is the work of literally dozens of people at the Arab Studies Institute who have actually produced material and arranged for the logistics that ended up being the context within which so much of what happened took place. And the list is too long, but I want to highlight the work of Mary Kate Smith, who is our communication and development director, in putting so much of this work together and helping me work with another dozen or so people to actively produce the material that has been actually produced by others, but to sort of collate it and curate it and make sure it's available for dissemination. So I will go to the website, the arabuprisings.org, and I'll simply go through the pages of the website, feature some of the events, but stop a bit longer on the portal, the resource portal we have created that will soon, as I shared, live perhaps also on the website, but it will live differently in a more user-friendly data visualization portal. So let me move to this right now. This is the Arab Uprisings project. Let me see if we can. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm trying to figure out why is it that we cannot see. Let me see if I can. All right, so I wonder if we can still be able to see us here in one way or another. Okay, it's not gonna be very possible. All right, so let's go through the website. This is the front homepage. Please feel free to sign up to stay in the loop. We are continuing to produce material on the Arab Uprisings, and material on the Arab Uprisings that's produced by ourselves as well as our partners. If they choose to share it, will also be on this website. We have on the homepage a list of featured events, which are just selected events that we are rotating that you could take a look at. And on the right-hand side, we have the Arab Uprising Resource Portal advertising, which I will show you in just a moment, where the actual resource portal lives. It's right up here. I don't know if you can see you probably cannot see my cursor. On the left, we started with two panels, actually prior to the panels that you see on the left, titled Reflections on the Arab Uprisings. And I'll stop here for a second to ask Amaney to share. If you remember, Amaney, we started with two large panels, about 8 people each, in which we talked about the Arab uprisings, or the marking of the Arab uprisings. And these were 16 people, almost 16 people, reflecting the units that joined this effort, addressing their approach. And we were surprised to find out that even though we are in agreement on so many things, the perspectives of how to approach the uprisings were quite different, right?
100%. I remember vividly, Sam, we had great conversations still about whether these were simply a bunch of protest movements versus deep-seated sort of revolutionary movements? Did we see change? Did we not see change? Are things better? Are things worse? What were the challenges linked to the Arab uprisings or opportunities versus setbacks? And then there was some introspection and some insight into, well, where's the region heading in this post-Arab Spring moment. So there was a lot of heterogeneity, and actually, like you, I was sort of impressed with the lack of sort of consensus, because often people say, we say Arab Spring, we say protest movements, but the fact that people had different analytical frames to analyze what these meant in the larger scheme of things, I think was really interesting.
Absolutely. So I'll go back to the let me see. I think I have the wrong
Screen.
good thing. There's nothing really embarrassing. All right. Let me set this up again. Apologies. All right. So we see the featured events on the left. After we started with the reflections on the Arab uprisings, we actually moved forward to addressing teaching the Arab uprisings with two panels that were actually quite interesting, and both of them produced material that will also be on the website in the resource portal. We had on the first panel Marwan Kredi, Najas Beiti, Thomas Seres, Rabab Al Mahdi, and on the second part, because we had to do them separately, there were just too many people: James Galvin, Khaled Madani, Sarah Shields, Ali Ahmida, Hatem Al Hibri. The first one was moderated by I think by Amaney, and the second was moderated by myself, and we both had our share to share in each of these panels. We also had a really remarkable panel on archives, revolution, and historical thinking with Reem Bailouni, Rosie Bshir, Miriam Hali Davis, Pascal Ghazali, Sarah Persley, Nadia Beiti, moderated by Shireen Sayali. This was a fantastic panel that ended up actually being viewed perhaps among the top panels that were viewed on social media. And then we continued. The list doesn't end. And then we continued through for that over 2 years with several other panels that included 5 or more scholars, as well as lectures, book reviews, or book talks, and podcasts that we will not have time to share at this point. This would be, I'm going now to the events page. This is our concluding event that we're having today with all of the information in there. And then if you scroll down in this on this page, you will actually be able to see all events, and then you can click on them, like literally you could click on them in order to watch the actual event. These are I think about more than 26 events that we have logged. We have others that will be added, and literally all you have to do is click on these videos, and they will play the actual video of the entire event. Let's try one here for fun.
1927. Next up will be Rosie Bshir, who is an assistant professor of history at Harvard University and author of Archive Awards, The Politics of History in
Congress, where I
And
today
so you
How
can
they adapted these ideologies to fit their particular contexts, the collaboration as well as the
you can get the idea. And the list goes on and on. And in my view, based on the conversations I've had with many educators, people are using these in classrooms, especially if they are able to select like certain topics or certain lectures and presentations. They are able to cater all of this material to their own needs. Before I go on, I would like to go back and ask Amani if she would like to highlight any of these events that we've embarked on.
I thought all the events that we did were really productive. They brought in a plethora of different voices, different colleagues here and from the region, which is something that I think is extremely important. What I also appreciated is that thematically, the way the panels were organized is that they focused on sometimes contemporary political science, sometimes with the historical view, the IR view, the arts and culture. I think there was a section on the youth. So basically, it was not only an effort to comprehensively represent what the Arab Spring meant to different groups, but also a deliberate effort to bring in many other voices that we all very valuable voices, which is really great. I think there was a session on women's rights as well. So it was a very sort of elaborate effort.
Yes, and we also had a few of these in Arabic. I think we're not able to translate or transcribe or transliterate all the ones that were not in English, but it's something that, with time, I think we would like to get to. All right, let me go straight to the resource portal, which will basically occupy the rest of this discussion, so that folks know where to head if they want a one-stop shop on the Arab uprisings, so far as we have collected and curated the material. This is the resource portal. So basically, the URL is the arabuprisings.org/resource portal, with a dash between resource and portal. So far, this is the URL. As we move to the more audio visually stimulating and interactive and user-friendly version, it might have a cleaner name, but it's actually just resource portal after the arabuprisings.org/resource portal, with a dash between resource and portal, which is why it's annoying to keep saying this. That's why we would like to find a cleaner title. All right. The resource portal provides users with a vast array of material that offer nuanced perspectives on this critical moment in history. Resources also include peer-reviewed journals, organized thematically and chronologically, and recorded roundtables on a multitude of topics. Users can select journal articles from the peer-reviewed articles bouquet, books from essential readings and engaging books, and roundtable videos to best accompany their course goals or research. They can also peruse the list of books on the uprisings curated by the publishers themselves. So there is a bias for educators here, but of course anyone can use this. And the reason I'm reading this out is because these podcasts and the events that we do are also converted into audio-only podcasts, and they cannot read the screen. So I'm not just reading it because you can't, even though the screens might be too small on your end at some point, if you're using a cell phone. While the existing platform allows for ease of access to the module materials, the module is dynamic and will evolve as updates and upgrades enhance it gradually, adding breadth, flexibility, and utility. Currently, the portal displays content in a classic manner. The upgraded design will feature the content in an interactive manner that visualizes linkages across the various content categories. With these improvements, we will create a query and tag linking system that can display and provide materials for users based on previously viewed content. This and other developments will be of greater use for educators, researchers, students, and journalists alike. And then we get to the list of actual modules. Let me just also point out that at the bottom here of every page there is a list of organizers and co-sponsors that are permanently featured here, and of course our partner organization at the Arab Studies Institute, or within the Arab Studies Institute, that has put out most of this work is the Middle East Studies Pedagogy Initiative, which has its own website on which so much of this lives at this point. We'll start with the essential readings. And if you go to essential readings, you go to a library on the MESP website of essential readings, which are essentially annotated bibliographic list produced by a scholar that we actually ask to produce this material on a particular topic. In this case, it's Elizabeth Kassab on philosophy and the uprisings. For instance, if you click on read more, you'll basically be taken to the actual content, in which there's usually an introduction with an annotated list of various resources on the topic, including books, peer-reviewed journals, and beyond, which also include, as you can see here, Arabic. So it's a pretty, like each of these is a pretty efficient one-stop shop into that particular topic, which evolves over time, given that every year and a half to 2 years we will be revisiting this material in order to update it. So these are the essential readings. First one was on which is the one I showed you. The second is Uprising, Resistance, and Popular Mobilization in the Middle East and North Africa, produced by John Shallcraft. Yet others are on the concept of revolution itself. Uprising, Popular Protest and Resistance by Asif Bayat. This one is on the Hirak. It's a glossary that was produced by Miriam Harry Davis, Thomas Serre, and the MESPI group. It's a really wonderful glossary. There's no time to click on all of these things. You can check them out as you see fit. We do have one on the uprising in Iran. We kind of like included this as well. This is actually from 2022, December, capturing the latest protests. Another is on cities and materiality. The list goes on, and as you can see, this page doesn't even exhaust the various essential readings, which you would have to go to 3 pages in order to find all of them. So I'll stop here and go back to our portal. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so that's the essential readings segment of our resource portal. Would you like to share anything, Amaney, about the essential readings? Okay, I'm just trying to check with you just to make sure that
it's really a comprehensive treatment of what was been written on the Arab Spring. So it's really a go-to resource
Absolutely.
for everyone.
Thank you. All right, so let me go to the books, and then the rest of them I'll try to be as quick as I can, so that people can do the work themselves. This is basically a list of, not a list, basically an archive of Newtons. We call them Newtons because there are new texts out now. I mean, that's the acronym, that we ask questions of the writers, and then they answer in what ends up being a very efficient and informative article on these various books. And these are actually quite numerous on the uprising, from topics ranging from mobilization to gender to geopolitics. You will be treated to a long list of books that have been reviewed for this purpose, addressing virtually every case of the Arab uprisings. So we will leave that to you to explore. Next, we'll go to the events, which you have seen already on our page. You can also watch all these events like directly on the website, or you can go to the YouTube version and check it out. Check them out. So I'll move forward from that. Next, we will look at the something called engaging books. These are books produced by various publishers, and we ask them to highlight several books on a particular topic. This is the work of one of our remarkable MESPI coordinators, Jonathan Adler, who curates this material from different publishing houses, and we make sure to cover, as you can see here, publishing houses in Arabic, like Saqi Books. We also cover different ranges of publishing houses, so we don't just go to a particular tier. We try to cover most tiers in order to make sure the presentation of knowledge production is eclectic, not just confined to to the quote unquote usual suspects. And you could also take a look at these trends produced by book publishers, which are ongoing, and these are just on the uprisings. So they select their own list of books on that particular topic, and they provide material. Let me actually share, like for instance, one of them. This one is from Georgetown University Press, and you could see all the information about these books, the table of contents, material about the books, and ways to actually purchase the book, and so on. And sometimes we provide, or they provide, discounts that we transfer to the readers. Next is our biggest database. It's called Peer Reviewed Articles Review, PRAR, and this is produced by our Knowledge Production Project at the Arab Studies Institute. These are quarterly collections of every single, at least what we have been able to find, almost every single peer-reviewed article on the Arab uprisings since 2011. And if you take a look at these, you will find a number of topics that are wrapped up in particular bouquets, where we actually confine this material even further. I'll click on one of them. This is from December 2020, produced on the question of Islamists and democratization, related to the uprisings in various ways and sometimes not. But this is a remarkable annotated collection of material that when you assign a paper on the uprisings, your basically students or researchers doing their own work can actually skip going through the entire internet and go to the module on peer-reviewed articles here on our portal. And then finally, signature panels. These are parts of the events that we have, but they are like particular panels with perhaps added curation attached to them, and you could take a look at all of them. They're online, and they are also under the Arab Uprisings portal. Let me go back to the portal here. All right. So with that, I'll stop for a minute, and before we feature other, we share with you what else is on there, because we just couldn't cover everything. And you will also find, especially in the final iteration, you'll also find a host of articles that are not peer-reviewed, produced by the project and beyond. You'll also see a host of podcasts that are valuable, that a lot of students enjoy. And if you are assigning few articles and a podcast, you'll be sure, or at least in the experience of so many of us, that students will go to the podcast first. They feel like it's a gateway to the articles. So it's also a very important pedagogic tool. But before I move on, actually, and trying to wrap up as well, so that we don't keep you for too long, Amaney, any word on anything we addressed here, and or any emphasis on maybe how we are going to move forward?
I mean, I mean, on the portal itself, Bassam, I just think it's important for people to take the time to sort of sift through it. If we've missed anything or anyone's work, by all means, if it was not intentional, please email us. We will make sure that the team at ASI will rectify the situation and include it. And we, apologies beforehand. As Bassam said, dozens of people worked on this project, really trying to make it as comprehensive as possible. But this is really worth taking an hour or two out of your day, or as you're preparing for your courses next year, just taking the time to take a deep dive into the portal and to appreciate the nuance and sophistication of all the material there.
Yes, I hope that people can do that, and we promise again to make things even easier to find as we continue to collect material on the uprisings every year. As you all know, in classrooms and beyond, the anniversary of the uprisings is commemorated, usually in December, or at least sometimes in December, but definitely in January and February. And on every occasion, we end up witnessing the production of knowledge across a variety of topics, fields, and subfields and disciplines. And we will be there to sort of accumulate the material that we find useful and add it to the portal. How long will this be the case? For how long? I am not sure. I mean, so long as there are mass movements taking place, and so long as the memory of the Arab uprisings is on our minds, we will continue doing this work. Amaney knows because when I met her, which is many years ago, more than maybe, I don't know, I'm not gonna give a number. خليها على الله.
Over 10 years ago.
لا أكتر. What do you mean 10 years? شو هيدا؟ لا أكتر. And I was gonna say 16 because I met you before we.
15.
Yeah. So basically, just to give you an indication. This is our 30th year at the Arab Studies Institute that we're chronicling and curating material, and sometimes they include projects of the sort. So look forward to the long run, given that our track record is that we will keep this going, and now with the support of Arab Barometer and Amaney's energy and wherewithal and brilliance, I think together we will be able to continue providing material for research. There are other things that we can address about the project, but we will let you figure this out on the arabuprisings.org website. And if there is anything that you wish to add to the website, we will be adding a wiki-like functionality where you can actually contribute ideas, or if we missed something, you could actually submit material to be added to our collection. So that will happen actually pretty soon on the front page of the website, somewhere near the sign up sheet, so that you have a place where you could add to the archive that we have. Amaney, did I miss anything?
No, they captured it all very eloquently and
very
diligently.
Thank you.
I do want to take a moment, Bassam, and I know, when we started this project several years ago, one of the first things Bassam said, when we sat down to talk about the need for this project, this is before we even got everything together, Bassam. We met up here in Princeton, and you said there's so much going on the Arab Spring. There's so much that's been written, but it's not collected
anywhere
in a respectable place. And there seemed to also be Bassam. There was a lot of research and knowledge production happening in the region versus a lot of knowledge production here and in Europe. And there was this feeling that there was a little bit of segmentation, that we were losing a lot of the descriptive richness that was happening on the ground in the region. And Bassam sort of saw this, like, kind of again, versing conversations in the region versus here. And his idea was that we need to sort of create a place where all this work can sort of coexist alongside one another. And so in many ways, his brainchild. I sort of came in and have supported the effort and have worked with Bassam because I was convinced of the project and the importance of the project. So I want to thank you, Bassam, for giving me the opportunity to work with you on this project.
Amani, first of all, the pleasure is mine. And second, مش مظبوط, not true. You were a principal part of this in so many ways that actually empowered us to keep moving. And in many ways, I frankly, I felt deeply supported, encouraged, and empowered by your presence and the presence of your own unit and the people around you that helped us put a lot of this work together. And if you don't know, also by how you guys will also work with us to put a lot of things together in the future for this project, because we want to leave it in about 6 or 7 years. That's a 10-year mark. We have a 10-year sort of shelf life. We're not going to stop, but I think within the next few years, we want to build this as an archive that will withstand the test of time. So we will be continuing to work on this. And if anybody would like to join this effort, please go to the website. On the first page, there'll be a comment box and an email where you can actually participate and share with us your ideas and even your interest in joining as a co-sponsor, at least for the resource portal, which will be an ongoing project, an ongoing archive that will continue to be supplemented, complemented, and will continue to expand over the coming years. So with this, thank you all for joining. This will be on YouTube. You can also check it out anytime. Thanks to Amaney for being a very loyal, productive, and brilliant partner. I am very happy, Amaney, that since we started, you were, of course, teaching at Princeton, and now you're the dean of the School of Public and International Affairs at Princeton, which makes us all very proud. And I know that from this position, like you've done throughout, you will be helping all of us pay attention or better attention to the process and endeavor of knowledge production at the highest levels. And I hope to keep connecting with you on this and other projects. And like I said prior to the show, I do hope also that we meet for coffee or for lunch to talk about things other than work.
Exactly.
To take a break.
Always very important to Bassam, and always the great stuff that the great outcome that comes out of all these collaborations, very meaningful partnerships and friendships.
Absolutely.
And Bassam is not only a great colleague but a great friend. So it's an honor to continue working together, Bassam, and steering this project forward.
Same here, Amaney. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully we'll see you on the website at some point. And take care.